Hi, I'm Mel Stevens from Fear-Based Life. I talk about fears, phobias, religious and spiritual beliefs. It's a rad podcast. Some of my newest guests are Georgia Hardstark from My Favorite Murder and Duncan Trussell from Duncan Trussell's Family Hour right here on Feral Audio. Check it out.
Hey, Georgia.
Hey, Alie.
Welcome to Slumber Party with Alie and Georgia, and anyone who's listening to Slumber Party with Alie and Georgia.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Here's the deal with Slumber Party. It's kind of like a slumber party. We've built a blanket fort. I'm barefoot right now. There are snacks, there's beer, and we have on a guest every week, and we get them to tell us really confessional things, and there's ghost stories. So stay tuned for we're going to see what we get out of DC Pearson today.
Lots of weird shit's going to happen in Slumber Party.
But first, Georgia, did you learn anything this week?
I did.
What'd you learn?
Okay, well, one of my very best friends for the last 10 years, Kate Perovich, has moved back from Los Angeles to Portland, which makes me want to fucking kill myself. Because she's one of those girls you go out to drinks with and you're like, oh, my life isn't that bad. I'm happier about my life now.
Because her life is so shitty? Is she like an orphan and she has like all kinds of sores on her body?
Well, yes, but also she's just a really like caring, thoughtful person, and she gives the best haircuts you've ever seen in your life.
She does. No, Kate's a delight.
Kate is,
she's a
if you're
goddamn
in
delight.
Portland and you need a haircut, let us know, because this girl's amazing. So I learned that Portland has the largest amount of breweries per capita.
Really?
In the States. So I went and got at the Oaks Gourmet Market on Franklin. I went and got us all Portland beer.
Thank you. I don't drink beer.
I know you don't, but try
this.
this.
Just lovely. I hate fucking beer so much.
Producer Dustin's going to open this as a gentleman would.
It's real nice of you. Have fun with that.
This is Dead Guy Ale by Rogue. It's an Oregon brewed ale. And I got this for all of us.
So Portland has a shit ton of breweries. You know what else they have a shit ton of?
What?
Strippers.
Do they?
So many goddamn strippers in Portland. Like, it's crazy. It's like
How do you know that?
the gold rush. Because I have some friends in Portland who go to strip clubs.
Why do they go to strip clubs?
It's kind of like the only job you can get in Portland. Like that or a barista.
Is it one of those places where it's like, oh, you're tattooed and weird and you'll like kick some guy in the face, but it's cool. That's a stripper instead of like some sad fucking girl who lives in Alhambra and is like, oh, I don't have anything to do and I have 2 children.
No, it's like a metropolis of Courtney Loves, I think.
Oh, like badass strippers.
Yeah, there's some, but you know what? I bet a lot of them garden.
Oh my God, they have their own tomatoes and they also show their tomatoes.
Hey. Ew, is it tomato?
I don't know. Never, ever.
I don't even want to think about that.
I don't know.
That makes me think of really taut, bright red breasts that are very painful.
Alie, I'm pouring you a small glass. I don't know if Slumber Party listeners know this, but Alie does not enjoy beer.
I'm actually a little bit mad at Georgia because she's like, hey, I bought beer for us. And I was like, we've been best friends for 6 years. I've never had a beer.
This is a beer, like a prop beer, though. This isn't like, let's all drink beer. This is like, my story is about Oregon. We're all having half a glass of beer.
That's fishy.
To toast Kate.
That's fishy. I have a story about drug use, and I brought myself a tiny vial of methamphetamines.
Well, as long as you brought enough for everyone to have some, it's fine.
Okay, so I have a really, really stupid what I learned this week.
Let's cheers. Cheers.
It's incredibly dumb. But do you know that Air Force One has not only an operating room on it, should someone go into cardiac arrest, but also
serious?
The doors are designed to be able to clear a coffin in case the president's body has to be shoveled in and out of there.
Shoved.
But yeah, so the Air Force One is essentially like really, really morbid, and like every moment you're in it, there are reminders that like you're gonna die if you're the president.
Oh my God, like this is a chance.
People want your shit dead so bad.
Do you think that presidents like consider the fact that like they at what point do you consider the fact that you may die in your line of duty, like in your line of
like before
your career? Like I feel like
before you even like design a campaign poster, you're like, hey, everyone, I might die.
No, but I mean like firefighters. Are they like, well, I might die from this? There's like a small percentage, but I could be one of those people.
No, I'm sure every single one of them. Cause like you go, like when you'd go into the army and you're like, my odds are pretty good. No, you're like, bye everyone. Yeah. It was nice having you in my life.
What makes you more special than anyone else?
I think whenever you go into a high risk job, you're like very, very big chance. If I worked at a bank, I'd be every single day, I'd hug all of my loved ones.
Okay, but what
you
about
guys? I've
what
got the
about
noon
actors,
shift.
and they're like, there's a very good chance I'll have to go back to Oklahoma and be like, oh, it didn't work out for me.
That's more depressing than getting killed in the line of duty.
I know, because at least you're a hero and your kids like you.
Yeah, like there's any parade for you in Ohio being like, you didn't make pilot season.
Hey,
huh?
way to go with ticker tapes. Like,
Yep.
it's awesome. Good job.
Didn't get that boob job? That's all right. Come back.
That was your biggest fail.
Come back home. So
Hey.
in our studio right now, we have an actor who's a successful
Who's
one.
never going to go back to Oklahoma.
Never
with
had a boob job.
ticker tape parade. Never had a boob job.
He is an author. He's an improviser. He's writer.
Actor, comedian.
He's
He's got a glorious beard. Let's just get that out of the way.
He has an insane beard, a tangle of man hair on his face.
He looks like a young Jay Mascis. Let's just get that out of the way.
Do go on.
Oh.
You know just what to say to a gal.
We have DC Pearson.
Hey, guys.
In our blanket fort. This is a pretty big coup because I've had a brain crush on DC since before I even met him. He is part of the Trio Mystery Team.
Yep.
Which became YouTube sensations, and then everyone's scattered and got incredibly famous.
Yeah.
And
Something that's, first of all, it's very flattering. Second of all, something from the corrections department. The name of our comedy group is Derek. The name of the movie that we made is The Mystery Team. Although if we had it to do over again, we definitely would not have named it Derek.
What's
The
that
Mystery
from?
Team is way cooler.
What's Derek?
What is Derek from? Well, because it was initially a 3-person group. It was myself, Donald Glover, and Dominic Durkis. And then it became a 5-person group when we added a director and a producer, Dan Ekman, right? So that works with the D names. And then Maggie McFadden, his now, wife, which doesn't work for the D names. I know. How dare she? And so when it was just a 3-person group, we were like, what should we call our like comedy group? Well, we all have D names. Let's just think of another D name. And we were like, let's think of a really stupid D name. And then we were like, oh, let's call it Derek, which we misspelled too, because it's spelled D-E-R-R-I-C-K, like an oil derrick, not D-E-R-E-K, a la Derek Jeter, which I don't know why or when we decided that.
That is a weird story about that name.
Exactly. And then I almost told that in a pitch meeting once with our group where the guy was like, how'd you guys become Derek? And I was like, well, I was telling the story, and then I really ripped into and we just wanted to think of a really stupid D name.
No.
And then in my head, because I'm awful with names, I went in my head and I was like, wait, hold on. I think this guy's name might be Derek. And I couldn't remember. And then we got it to the parking lot and I was like, was his name Derek, guys? And they were like, no, it's Daniel. It's fine. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank God. But anyway, we didn't sell whatever we were trying to sell. So yeah, I know. But it's fine. It wasn't because he was offended at Derek. It was just he just didn't terrible taste.
Legitimately.
Apparently. Yeah, exactly.
What was your first Derek video that you ever put up? Because your videos have like millions of hits. Like, it's crazy. You guys got mad.
We have mad hittage. It was weird. We put up like a bunch of really weird ones first before, when we were just making them just to make them, like before YouTube was a thing. And so we had them around because we were making them and we were like basically saving up money to put them on our own website. This is like 2005. And then this thing called YouTube like came out and I heard of it. So I went in my school's computer lab, in the middle of the night. I was like, oh, let me just post this to see what this YouTube thing's all about. And so the group came to be known because it's called like Derek Comedy is like the full name of it, which is really silly. It's kind of like being like the Charlie Daniels Band.
Yeah.
Like to have the name of the thing that you do in the name of your thing. So I put our username as Derek Comedy because it was so like the Wild West of YouTube that I didn't know if people would realize that it was attempting to be comedic if it wasn't labeled like this is comedy.
Yeah.
And even then, like one of the first sketches we put up like takes place in my peas are popping. I'm sorry guys. It takes place in a convenience store and there was a bunch of comments that were like, fake, this isn't surveillance footage. And it wasn't even trying to look like surveillance footage. It was totally covered like, a TV show. It wasn't trying to be surveillance
footage. That's way
footage.
back when it was like trolls being like, that's not real. I don't try to believe that.
Yeah, not even trolls, but just like people that authentically thought if something is on the internet, it is either real surveillance footage or video of a cat, or it's something that somebody is purporting to be surveillance footage. There's a fake, and it's like, yeah, no, fake, definitely.
And
we should have been called Derek
this
Fake.
is not
I think that would have been pretty cool. Yeah, that's what art should be called. Art should just be called fake.
Yeah,
we should have to append every piece of art with the word fake.
But can it be that tone of voice of
fake.
bullshit, man?
Well, because that's
that's
the way that you should read every internet comment is in that voice.
What font is that?
Yeah.
Just indignant font?
Fake.
Indignant bold?
That is That's an indignant pro.
Yeah,
Actually,
got
not
it.
even bold.
I
yeah.
got it.
ITAL is slightly
Yes.
higher pitched.
But
So
like the
when did
first,
it-
oh, sorry. I can't remember. I don't remember exactly what the first ones we put up, but we put up a few that were just like weird ones that we like had around that are sort of like,
When did it start getting like when did the virus start to spread?
ooh, it sounds so dramatic when you say it like that.
like
It sounds like
12 monkeys.
contagion. Yeah, totally.
So
sorry.
you owned YouTube,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes, outright. And then we sold it.
You sold it. There you
Yeah,
go.
behind a bus station.
That's dumb.
So when
Yeah.
did you guys decide to move out to California? Because you were based in New York for a long time.
Yes, I also like that I've somehow avoided answering all of your questions so far. Really quickly, the first video of ours that was popular was called Bro Rape, and it was one that we put up on
Yeah.
College Humor, or College Humor like linked to it, and then that's how it sort of spread because bros were like, yeah, sweet, that's making fun of us. That was created in direct opposition to everything we stand for.
Do you have any words about the fact that like a lot of male-driven improv is about gay sex and
Just get right in it,
male
Georgia.
rape?
Wow.
Like it's kind of a thing, though.
George is looking for like the big, like retumbled
I'm
thing
not.
where people are
I'm
like,
just
yeah.
straight up curious. Also, I want
Bi-curious?
to Tumblr the shit out of it. No, I'm really wondering.
Or just like male on male tumbling, or you know, whatever.
You know, this male.
Let's see. I mean,
This is just a
such
funny,
a
fun
minefield.
thing to like. Fuck
No.
with.
I mean, well, because I guess, I guess it's like a go-to for people sometimes. I mean, it's just like anything else. It could be like a really easy crutch, or it could be like something that is in the right context is
I
funny.
agree.
Like there's
I mean,
the
I
classic,
totally
like
agree with that.
the classic. I think it's George Carlin where he's like, imagine Elmer Fudd raping Porky Pig.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
in reality,
I think it's
gay
about
sex
the.
isn't like that.
No.
So it's funny because it's like that.
Well, you're
that's-
saying when dudes are just like doing like, hey, we're being gay and we're having gay sex, I was
Yeah.
like, it's funny, or we're like fucking each other in the butt because
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say there's a lot of comedy in breaking taboos, so maybe that's like the biggest taboo to break.
Okay.
Because who cares if you rape a lady?
And I think though it's interesting. I think that I can't really speak to it in terms of improv because other than my own improv show, I don't like go to see a lot of improv. So I haven't watched a ton of live improv for like 3 years now. But I feel as though in stand up, I think that the sort of like shock for shock's sake thing is really peaking. I kind of feel like there was like a school of comedians that came up and were like, like I would cite somebody like Sarah Silverman, super duper fucking smart, brilliant use of like dissecting taboos and stuff and that sounds like something that you would do in your like master's degree thesis, not something you would do on a comedy stage, but doing it in such a hilarious, amazing way and really walking that fine line and really handling that like uranium really well, to amazing, hilarious effect. And then there's people in their wake that go, oh, that's what you have to do, right? You just go up and say AIDS, fuck, dick, N word,
Look, we're
you know?
Dick.
We're laughing.
We're laughing.
Right,
It's like
exactly.
fucking
AIDS,
assholes.
actually, AIDS fuck dick would be pretty good. But no, but like Derek had a sketch, the premise of which was that there was a spelling bee and it was like the last round of the spelling bee and there was 3 sort of like really excited child contestants and that they go up there and the last word of the evening is nigger faggot. And it was something that it was almost a challenge. Like it was an idea that we had when we were in a different comedy group and we really liked it. And the director of that comedy group was like, you can never make that funny. You can't be funny.
No,
It
it's
won't be
hilarious
funny.
on its own.
It'll be too offensive. We were like, no, but that's the whole point is that it is like this really delicate thing that you're placing into this really different context. Now, the thing of it is like, and this is just going to come off as like horrific, like comedian elitism or just elitism in general, but whatever. Like not everyone is meant to handle that uranium. Like not everyone, not even some comedians are meant to do it because they don't do it with like thought and whatever. And that's not to say when you go to see shitty jobs, like we won't do something insanely silly just for silliness' sake because we totally will. I mean, like we have more Hail Hitler salutes per show than any other,
Well, we've done
than any other improv show.
Alie and I have done Hitler jokes in
Right.
our cocktail videos, and like part of the reason we can get away with that is because I'm Jewish and I think it's fucking hilarious.
Right.
to
And
do a
I'm
Hitler
a
joke.
super anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
And Alie
exactly.
hates
It's
Jews.
the balance. It's the yin, the yin and the yang.
Can I backtrack though?
Yeah.
Please.
That we should mention you're talking about Shitty Jobs, which
Yes.
is an improv show that is on Sunday nights at
Sunday nights
UCB,
at UCB, yes.
in Los Angeles. If you haven't seen it, it's so stupid good.
So good.
Who's in the lineup now?
The group consists of myself, Dominic, also from our comedy group, Derek Donald, also from Derek, Charlie Sanders, Ben Schwartz, Eric Appel, Sean Clements, and we recently added Ben Rogers, who's just moved here. He's like an amazing New York improviser.
My
he's like
fiance just took a class from him. And
Oh,
it was, like,
awesome. Yeah, he's the
amazing.
best. He's super cool. And he's like all like handsome and stuff, and he's super duper talented
This is
and
a
like
group
and
of
nice.
people who are fucking like
It's really bizarre.
young, funny, hilarious people.
Yeah, it's a good show. If you haven't caught
great.
Shitty Jobs
thanks, guys.
in UCB, it's very, very good.
When I went to see that,
Ooey.
when I was in level 1 at UCB, I went to see Shitty Jobs, and my teacher was like, "Oh no, you shouldn't see that because you guys do your own fucking thing." Like, it was so meta, and it's so like, we're gonna do this fucking thing now, and it's such a great.
You guys break a lot of
style.
rules
Yeah.
because you know how to.
Yeah.
break
And it was
them,
funny.
so.
There's a gentleman whom I do like, who has an improv podcast, and he sort of has had one by one had each member of Shitty Jobs on the show.
I love it.
And he likes the show. He comes to the show, but he uses it as his weird like forum to like Frost Nixon us and like put us on trial for like, well, you realize you're not obeying
This
these
isn't it.
improv rules.
This isn't
You know what I mean?
G-Con.
Yeah.
This is like
it really
something
is like
different.
that first long scene in Inglourious Bastards. He like pulls out a pipe. He like lights it. He's like, you understand you are not practicing yes and the way it is taught at the UCB theater? And we're like, sorry, bro.
But it's
too
so
many
fun
Hitlers.
because you guys know each. The only reason you can do that so well is because you guys know each other so well. Like, you couldn't just get a new
No, I
level
think
2 team to do that. It has to be people who know each other so well that they know the next thing the person.
I think that has something to do with it. I mean, I can't in good conscience sit here and go like, we're the best
Yeah.
or we're amazing. But I know that we do shows that we think are really fun and funny almost, most of the time,
Yeah.
I would say.
So what was it like moving out here from New York to get back to my question?
Please. Yes. I'm sorry.
Actually, we never asked you. Did you learn anything this week?
Yes, I learned. Oh, what did I learn? I learned that you were talking about your friend that had moved. I learned through a mutual friend that my best friend from back home had moved to Colorado. Finally, he has lived in Arizona his whole life, and as I had, and he finally moved. And I think it's good. I think it's going to be a nice life change for him.
Is that where
also
you're
they have
from?
medicinal weed there, and I don't think they do, or maybe they do in Arizona now, but it hasn't been. It's not quite the dispensary culture that I think it is in.
You can buy a lot of methamphetamines in Arizona and a lot of sports drinks.
A lot of medicinal methamphetamines.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you were from Scottsdale, though, aren't you?
Awatuki.
What the fuck is an Awatuki?
It is
that
a
a city?
suburb of Phoenix, and it has a Native American name, and it's just a lot of it's a suburb. It's just a lot of the same looking.
You know
houses.
what makes you seem like so much more intelligent and
This is gonna be bad already.
the fact that you got the fuck out of a town like that and have made something out of yourself.
I actually just went back there a couple weeks ago because, get this, I was being inducted into my high school's Hall of Fame.
Well, here's
Yeah,
the
it's pretty
interesting.
neat.
Here's what I think is really interesting because you wrote a book called "The Boy Who Never Sleeps and Didn't Have to."
Close, couldn't sleep and never had
Couldn't
to, but
sleep
that
and
was
didn't have to.
about as close as anyone's ever gotten without looking at it.
Tell us a story about that because you got inspired kind of on a little bit of a dare, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally. I saw, this is back when I was living in New York, and I was just out of college, and I was working at a really shitty temp job. I was working in the accounting department of BarnesandNoble.com. And I had only been there for a couple days, and I was working in the mailroom at Nautica before that, which was pretty exciting. Nautica, still a thing apparently. I didn't know. But I thought it went away with 1994 in Mervyn's. But Georgia loved the Mervyn's reference. Wow.
Oh
That
God,
almost
I
got
stole
her
so
spitting
much
out
stuff
Oregon.
from there.
Oh no! Wow, the Mervyn's police are
Can I
encircling
say
their
that
podcast division of the Mervyn's police.
If you're going to shoplift, doing it from Mervyn's is a little buster.
I feel like it's okay.
I
As a
feel-
13-year-old stealing padded bras
yeah, if
from
you're going to
Mervyn's.
steal big, steal big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Don't
I'm
steal
not
from
going to steal
Mervyn's.
big though.
So you were working a terrible job.
Working a terrible job. I happened to see my friend Eliza Skinner, who I now co-host a stand-up show with.
Yeah.
I happened to see her on the subway, and she was like, "Hey, I like the short stories that you write on your website." Because I write short stories and put them on my website. I was like, "Thank you." She was like, "You should write a novel," and I was like, "Oh, I definitely want to do that someday," because I wanted to do it someday. And she looked at me in a way that she sometimes can look, and she was like, a lot of people say that, but not a lot of people really ever do it. And then she like got off the train, or at least like in my memory, she immediately, without another word, got up and got off the train. I don't think she actually did. I think we rode then into Manhattan, where I then went to my shitty temp job at BarnesandNoble.com. Although Barnes and Noble, the bookstore, is a fantastic chain bookstore. We should all praise them because they're the only one left. And I have to say that because I'm an author who wants to be on their shelves. If there was still a 2-horse race, I could maybe jockey between them and Borders a little bit, but Barnes and Noble is the only one left.
Yep.
So I got to say that Barnes and Noble is amazing.
BarnesandNoble.com.
Yes.
Listen to get the boy that couldn't sleep and never had to.
For your crappy temp job needs, BarnesandNoble.com. And I was like, I'm like on the wrong side of books. I want to be like on the other side of it. And so I was like, okay, I wrote an email to Eliza that day and I was like, I want to write a book, but I need you to be because I only respond to like guilt and shame as motivators. I don't respond very well to like inspiration.
So you're a Jew.
Yeah,
were you raised Catholic?
No, I was raised Catholic for sure.
Oh, wow.
Not hugely Catholic, but like the lightest touch of Catholic enough to like get that really good like guilt in there.
I can smell it.
Yeah,
I know
it's
it.
hot in here. So I quit the temp job that day.
Nice.
And I was just like, sweet. Oh my God, this is awesome. I had no money, but I was like, I'm just gonna figure it out.
Wow.
But I was bartending as well at that time, so I had like the tiniest bit of like cash. And when I was doing that bartending job, like a commercial agent came in and he's like, hey, you got a look to you, kid. He didn't really talk like that, but it'd be more fun if he did, right? Hey, you got a look to you, kid. He was Uncle Moneybags from Monopoly.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Peanut.
And Mr. Peanut all in one. Yeah, exactly. He was Mr. Peanopoly. Ooh.
sounds
actually delicious.
That sounds like a procedure that I never ever want to
A
get.
Peanopoly? That's when they give you all the penises.
All the penises.
And so, what was that? Oh yeah. So he's like, hey, you should go in for this commercial tomorrow that I'm like sending people out on. And it was for Rock Band, the video game Rock Band, which hadn't come out yet. And he was like, you got a good look for it. Go in for it. So I got to like the final round of callbacks. There were 4 people that were going to be in the commercial and I was the 5th. I didn't get the part, but he was like, I want to represent you. So I kept going out on commercials. I was writing during the day, going on commercials. My tiny amount of money that I had in the world was rapidly dwindling. And then I booked like one little like phone commercial, which was like a short film. And it was actually kind of funny. I wonder where it went, but it was like just for the internet. So I paid a little bitty tiny amount of money, but just enough to like not work for, because also that's the great time in your life where you literally need no more money than like rent plus
maybe eating ramen.
Exactly. Like rent plus, $200 maybe.
Ah, that's so great.
And so I was like, okay, so that's rent. And then I'll make $200 bartending and then I can live for a month. So I just lived and I wrote and it was great. And I probably finished the book, by the end of that. By early the next year, so like early 2008. And then we went away and we shot our movie Mystery Team in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Just so good. I fucking love that movie.
Thank you very much. And we came back and I did a second draft of it. And then that fall sent it to my agent, and she liked it, so she sent it to a friend of hers that was a literary agent. He liked it. He was like, I want to represent it. He sent it to 9 places, and 8 of them didn't want to do. I just did 6 for 9.
Not 9.
By the way, 9 places.
Can I interject and say that I read this book? It came out in early 2010.
Correct.
January 2010, perhaps?
Yes.
But I remember I purchased the book right away and read it very swiftly. And what I love about, The Boy Who Couldn't Sleep and Didn't Have to.
Never had to.
Never
I put too
had
many
to.
prepositions in there for anyone to ever get it right.
It's your fault.
My next book is called Duh. So everyone's going to remember.
It's called Da?
Yeah, it's called Duh.
Oh, I thought it was
it's
Da.
No, it's like NHEND. It's not called
It's
that.
just bracket, grunt, bracket.
Bracket, grunt, bracket. Yeah, exactly.
Only everything's spelled out. It's just bracket, all the words.
Grunt Bracket would be a good name for a fucking like pub rock band, right?
What tax bracket are you? Grunt.
What grunt?
Bracket.
Yeah.
But the characters are so well drawn and so human. Do you feel like you making characters for acting helped you write characters? How do you feel like, because you're so good
I hadn't thought about that. First of all, that's very flattering of you. Thank you. And, second of all, no, I guess I'd never thought about that. But yeah, I think improvising and learning improvisation has really helped, because writing is just, on a basic level, is just crystallized improv, especially when you're first just writing something. You're just improvising on the page, and then it's written down as you go. And then obviously you go back and you edit and you fix it and you do all kinds of things. And like, if you're like me, like I plan shit out really heavily before I do it. But then just like in the course of doing anything good, there are discoveries and things that you do and things that you make. So I feel like Yeah, I feel like maybe to a certain degree, like I always really like dialogue anyway. Like when I'm writing a piece of prose or like a short story or a novel or something, I'm like racing to get to dialogue typically because I like dialogue the most. I like it when you can get to the point where you're just going like, you know, what this person said, what this person said, what this person said, without even having to say like, she said, he said, she exclamated or whatever.
Like, you know, the characters enough to know that that's their line.
Right. Which I always like and never really, I don't think bit me in the ass until I had to do an audiobook version of the book recently.
Did you read it?
So I did read it. It was really neat.
I'm obsessed with audiobooks.
I hope you like it. It hasn't come out yet. But yeah, it's going to be on Audible. I don't know when it's coming out.
Oh, it's awesome.
But it was really neat. I liked it a lot and it was really, really cool. But I definitely got to those scenes and I was like, oh, I gotta like differentiate their voices beyond just like, so I don't know how it's gonna sound.
It?
I did read it, yeah.
Whoa. How was it? What was that experience like?
Hard.
It was cool. It was really cool because you're just like, it's sort of just like you're like reading to someone. Mm-hmm. Which the guy that was recording it, he was this cool engineer. He was like, so I just want you to imagine, he said like two things, which the other thing I've just like repeated a billion times just because I really liked it, even though it's not really related to anything in particular. But the first thing he said about the recording process, he was like, when you're reading it, imagine that you're just in a bar with like 3 or 4 of your friends and you're saying something that they're like interested in. They're not like hanging on your every word, but they're like interested. They're paying attention. So you just got to kind of like sell it to them like a little bit, but like not too much. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a good way of putting it.
Was he a young guy? He seems hip.
This engineer?
Yeah.
No, he was young. He was on the younger side. He was in his like, probably I would say like late 30s, early 40s. But
old.
What's ancient. He was he blew away to dust. Well, I went out after the last session and there was just a pile of dust on his chair and his dog was licking it. He had a dog in the session.
That's what they do.
That is what they do.
I'm listening
How
to
old
right
are
now.
you?
Oh, sorry.
I was going to ask how old you are at this point.
27.
27.
Yeah.
27, you've made a movie. You have written a fucking novel. Not a novel, you've written a fucking novel, which I think once you've written a novel, you can say you write a novel, but if you haven't, if you haven't yet written a novel, you have to say a fucking novel. Because it's like it seems so insurmountable. Yeah, and you're what are you working on like day to day now? Like what's DC Pearson's day to day life like?
I have another book coming out in March. I have a young adult novel coming out called Crap Kingdom, and I'll work in a little plug here, which is that if you pre-order it, and this offer is still good, and if you're listening to this like 7 months from now, it probably isn't good anymore, but for right now, it's good. Check my website and make sure it's still good if you're listening to this like 8 hours or 8 years after it comes out. But if you pre-order the book, like if you go to like Amazon or like Powell's Books, if you want to go the independent route or whatever, and you pre-order it from their website, and you send me the receipt that you receive for pre-ordering the book to crapkingdom@gmail.com, I will get this, write your name into a not a freestyle rap, but a rap that I will do on my YouTube page. I've already done the first one. I did the first 50 names, so I wrote everyone's name into a rap song, and I performed it, and it's on YouTube, and you can see it. It is there for you to see. So I will do it. I will follow through.
I will be doing
just
this.
Get your receipt and forward it to crapkingdom@gmail.com.
Like David Sedaris and fucking Stephen King would never do for you. Like
Stephen King does crazy freestyle raps.
I don't care how fucking awesome like Douglas
Stephen
Adams
King and David
Magnitude
Sedaris also have the luxury of previous blockbuster success, so they don't necessarily have to. But yes, take advantage of it because
that's amazing.
E.L. James would do that.
E.L. James would totally do that.
Yeah, she would just rub her nipples and say your name.
Why was I was trying to go there. All I had so far was nipples.
Rubber.
That book is such a pile of shit.
I haven't read it, but I had
50 Shades of Grey is the worst book I've ever had to touch with my human hands.
Ladies, I haven't read it, but
ladies,
from what I hear, you're a stupid idiot if you fucking read.
I'm so sorry if you read it.
I was in a Starbucks a few weeks ago, and I was sort of looking over this lady's shoulder to see like, oh, what she's reading, just because, whatever. And it was, the author's name was E.L. James, and I was aware of 50 Shades of Grey, but I don't think I knew the author's name. And so I was like, oh, E.L. James, that sounds like a very august old British writer. Surely he has tweed patches on his jacket. And then I looked and I was like, oh, it's 50 Shades of Grey. Oh, well, fuck that. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Although I have to say this just sort of on a like really lame, like business of books level. Anytime a book is successful, it's a good thing. Like anytime any people are like stoked about reading and going and getting another book.
Yeah.
Like people, I'm thrilled about that. Like, that book is probably terrible. Like, I probably wouldn't like it. Twilight I haven't read, but I have friends that have read them and say they're like pretty not that good.
Pretty not that good.
But, you like how I'm like equivocating without really equivocating?
Yeah.
But anytime people get excited about reading and getting a book, it's like, that's pretty cool. Because also, then those are like the equivalent for like movie studios, of like having a blockbuster movie. So then those, and I think even more so than movie studios, where you would think they would take the proceeds of A Dark Knight Rises and then maybe we'll just make we'll make a couple huge other movies that might make a bunch of money, but let's make like 10, small, cool movies. And they don't really do that. I mean, they might make
Harry Potter. It's like, I mean, that was legitimately a good series.
Totally. But like publishing houses then take that money and they can fund like people's first novels, which they still do. Which they still do, which is cool. Yeah, exactly. And they'll put out a bunch of other schlocky books that people that are sitting in a room in LA recording a podcast probably don't like. But then like, that's fine, because then that hopefully finances other people's books that might not, be quite that popularly successful. But
well, I mean, originally when we were children, that's the opposite.
When we were the original children.
When we were the original children, it started the opposite way, which is like James and the Giant Peach came out, and then fucking Tim Burton was like, I'm gonna make this into a movie. Like, originally it was Matilda, and then the movie came out. But like, I mean, if it's the opposite and it still makes people read, then why is it a negative thing?
Exactly.
It's a negative thing because I think any book that's like, you should definitely fall in love with a man because he's wealthy.
Oh, I agree completely with you. I'm not arguing for that book because it's terrible.
Yeah. Well, speaking of falling in love and crushes, do you have any internet crushes? Anyone that you're crushing on internet wise that you're like, I stalk their Twitter, I don't know them in real life, but
how cool is this person? If I know we'd be best friends if we met in
if life. Only I could meet them in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally.
I could be on their podcast. I feel like that I would.
I like that you burped off mic, but it was not that
was it
off
not?
mic. No, it's hilarious. I was like, sweet. Okay, awesome.
Sorry.
No, I love it. I tried to talk about it so that they would leave it in on purpose.
I appreciate
Maybe
that.
Maybe it won't. 3, 2, 1. We're back in.
So anyway.
What were we talking about? I really got into that burp. Internet crushes. Who do I have an internet crush on? Can
I say really quickly while you think of that? DC's Twitter is, I really, really appreciate that you appreciate puns. And when you get on like a pun streak, I'm in it. I'm not turning the light off. I'm just waiting until you're done and you just run it out and you run its course.
Right.
He'll get on like a pun streak about like alternative titles for books that have to do with cheese or whatever. He'll just get on that shit or new movie titles for things that are slightly tweaked and really punny. And you're like, thank you for appreciating the pun.
I've never met anyone who loves puns more than Alie.
You know who loves puns? Fucking rappers. And
they do.
And they're who's more badass than a goddamn rapper?
Nobody.
They love it.
Well, rappers are all just former theater kids, really.
They really are.
Secretly?
Sometimes. I think so. I think a lot of them, like, either they actually were, like in like Ludacris's case, I'm like, oh, come on, he must have been plays.
Oh my God, totally.
But also he's from like, 10 years ago or whatever. But like, in terms of other rappers, I'm kind of like, you would have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a certain amount of like exposition. There's a certain amount of exposition. Guys, show don't tell, please. No, there's a certain amount of exhibitionism that goes into that I find like you have to have been that kind of.
You had to be an emotionally needy child at some point,
Precisely.
and that's why I love you.
Found their love in theater.
Yeah. But what about you? Any crushes? Do you have any?
I would say, does it have to be a girl?
Doesn't have to be.
No.
Okay.
No. Rob Delaney. Everyone.
Yeah.
loves him.
How can you not love Rob Delaney?
Yeah.
I will say. Well, okay. Here's one. One of my very good friends is Megan Amram. She and I got to work with her on this show really briefly that we were both on, this like pilot, and she is just as amazing at writing like everything as she is at writing for Twitter, because her jokes on Twitter are like amazing, perfectly structured. Sometimes it's wordplay, sometimes it's whatever, but it also has like a point of view.
It's concise and fucked
Exactly. And she's just that good in everything she does. So like Megan Amram, you bet on Amram.
She's someone that if I saw her in person, I would never recognize her because the photo she fucking
her avatar
is so terrible.
Totally.
Her avatar is
I'm in love with her, and I want to go have a drink with her. Like she just seems like the coolest girl.
She's super cool.
So wait, you're writing with her? You're working with her?
I did. I wrote on Anthony Jeselnik, the comic Anthony Jeselnik, did a pilot for Comedy Central that we wrote on, and a bunch of other comics as well, which was super duper fun.
Can I just say right now that I don't have a crush on Anthony. I don't think he's hot.
No.
I don't think he's hilarious. I don't sweat when I think about him.
None at all.
No.
My heart rate is absolutely even keel.
So she's good.
I don't even care about him. Who is he again? I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
I can tell that you're.
I don't even care.
I can tell that you're not being ironic. So I'll just tell you that he's every bit as cool in person. He is a gentleman and a scholar in person. He's very literary.
Do you end up traveling
Travel
a lot?
bunch, yeah. I mean, I haven't been traveling a bunch, but like, I mean, I'll do like stand-up shows in different places and a lot of, so I travel a decent amount.
I have a question. Since you travel a lot, do you ever encounter any ghosts?
Yeah.
What? Ghost stories. I haven't. I was trying to, you guys were like, we're going to talk about ghost stories. And I was trying to think if I have personally any ghost stories, but I was just in my high school and there is supposedly a ghost in my high school theater, which get this, my high school was built in the year of our Lord, 1990. And,
I didn't realize.
I know. And yet somehow there is a ghost in the theater already because
Doing
apparently,
what?
I don't know, slamming doors and shit, whatever ghosts do. He was like apparently a construction worker that was like working on the auditorium and he fell from the scaffolding and died.
So he was drunk.
And what's that?
So he was drunk.
wasted. So the ghost is still wasted. Or he's like, I think in another eon he'll be nearly hungover.
The ghost is just trying to call his ex-girlfriend.
Hey, baby.
Please.
Let's talk about kitchen raid.
Also, you never told us your ghost story.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. So that was, sort of we had a ghost. I don't know if I really have a ghost story involving him. Just that like a lot of people, sort of current alumni, former students, that have like ghost stories about like being up in the theater part of the school by themselves late at night and then like, a gust of wind and a door slams shut. But that's about the extent of it.
That would never happen with the science labs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like at theater kids.
Yeah.
Of course I saw. Yeah, I saw him. Am I crying?
Why are they
yeah,
gay?
but I saw
Why are they all
a ghost.
gay? They're all
That's
gay.
a woman, actually. That's a very, very theatrical woman.
Although I will say, I did know one of my first gay people in my life. Not my first gay person, but one of my first gay people was this kid. I'm just gonna have to tell like my first gay story instead of a ghost story.
That's Slumber Party.
My first pure gay.
Okay.
And not pure, P-U-R-E, although he was very pure. My first pure gay. Pure gay was, this kid named Jeremiah, who was a couple years ahead of me, and he was in theater, and he behaved for all the world, even though I was like 14, so he couldn't have been more than like 16 or 17, because I think he was a junior or senior. Like, he was a gay playwright that had moved to New York for like one last hurrah before he died of AIDS. He was just like, he was enveloped in like silk scarves and had like a long sort of like trench coat and very, but he wasn't like fabulous, but he was just very like understated. He was stately. That's what he was. He was stately. He was like he's at like a Sunset Boulevard thing. Yeah, exactly. And I remember him saying, the one thing that I remember him saying more than anything else he ever said was like, he was talking to some girls that he was, I think in my memory, doing makeup on. Although that's probably my memory, being homophobic.
Yeah, a little bit.
He was homophobic.
He was changing their tire.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. He was changing their tire, spitting on his hands, all that stuff. He was in what was it called? The grunt bracket. But he was saying to these girls, he was like, a lot of people don't remember Marilyn was a big girl. She was a big girl. Talking about Marilyn Monroe. And I was like, that is fucking gay. And it's great. You know what I mean? Like, that is a gay. But I'm like, where does that's how you know that people are born gay. They're not nurtured. I'm like, where is he learning that?
Well, the fact that like none of us at that age are comfortable in being ourselves, no matter how accepted we're allowed to be. We're like a little weird, but we're still straight, and we're like, it's fine how you are. But like to fucking be that person who's like,
cool.
I'm fucking
so
crazy
cool.
and extravagant, and like,
and I never even really thought about that.
It's so
when I knew him, because I didn't know what his day-to-day life was like.
What? I mean, I'm sure it was difficult for him on certain levels, but it was like, but
he was just he was fucking about it though. Like he was just him. It was pretty cool. I wonder what he's up to. I don't remember his last name, so I can't look him up. Like Jeremiah, if you're out there, look us up. You're awesome.
I want to know. I bet his ascot collection is
fabulous.
Ascot.
He was really tan. I remember that. That's all I got.
Well, it was Arizona.
It was. That's true. I wasn't tan
what are your choices in Arizona?
I was pale as shit.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
You duck under a book.
I don't get tan though. I just get red.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So you just duck under a book.
Whenever
which I
did for my entire first 18 years of life.
But I have a question. Okay.
Please.
Donuts kitchen raid. Let's say you're going to raid the kitchen. No one's around to see you, or maybe only like your best friends. You're at a slumber party. You're gonna go for fucking broke, and you're gonna eat something just you're ashamed of, but you don't care.
Yeah.
What is it?
Something in
like you're gonna
peanut butter.
Fuck you!
Like what?
Put it in peanut butter. Like fucking like a Hershey's
like a spoon.
No, like not a spoon. I mean a spoon, but a spoon I'll do in front of people.
Yep.
I'm talking about take a Hershey's like mini.
Yep.
Yeah.
Open a jar of Skippies.
I did that recently.
Dip it in there. Oh, it's the best.
I've done that.
What more could you want?
Have you ever taken a spoonful? And actually, I think I found this out about Megan Gantz. Hey, have you, Georgia, just
girl.
brandished a
I just
chocolate
took
bar?
out a whole chocolate
all
bar,
right.
Mexican style chocolate from Olive and Sinclair chocolate.
It's from
in
Nashville.
fucking Nashville.
We just brought that back
It's
from
the
Nashville.
best chocolate you've ever had.
It's good shit, man.
Nice.
Smell it, cut it, have
been
your
in
have your
Nashville.
dealer look at it.
Stick it in peanut butter.
Have you ever taken a spoonful of peanut butter and dipped it in chocolate chips and then just nom 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 nom?
No, but I will definitely, now having heard
That
this.
is the-
I will
Yeah.
take a peanut butter spoonful and drizzle some honey on top of it, and just
That's
fucking
that's the
eat
best.
it.
Yeah, I grew up on peanut butter and honey more so than like getting toasting bread, putting the peanut butter on there, then just like putting like a lake of honey on it. Just a lake.
God
We
damn
never
it.
did peanut butter spoonfuls in my, like, even though my mom was a stoner before I like knew what that was, and
Right.
she'd be like, she'd eat an entire bag full of mint Milanos. Like, and I didn't realize that she was fucking high when she
Right.
did that.
Didn't she send you to the store when she
Oh,
got
she
the
used to send
munchies?
us to fucking jaywalk across the street in front of the, like, and to get her Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream or mint Milanos. Georgia.
If you had been killed, that could have been a anti-drug commercial.
Well, it'd
Yeah.
been kind of funny too.
Also, yeah, which they are.
Yeah.
Love
But
that.
even then, she didn't do spoonfuls of peanut butter.
Really?
No, I don't know why. So now I'm kind of like left, like, I don't know what to do. I just put
You guys
honey
onto
on
this
it.
game. I feel like some people out there are probably already onto this game, but my girlfriend put me onto it. Nutella, which I never even really
It's good
explored.
stuff. Good stuff.
Among many other things, this relationship has been good for my relationship with Nutella as one of my side relationships that I have besides my main relationship. My relationship with Nutella is burgeoning. Nutella, I also am acting this out for Alie and Georgia. I
see
didn't
it.
realize
It
I was
looks
doing it until I
great.
realized I was doing it.
He's doing space work.
I'm doing a ton of space work. Wait, pinky out. This is another space work note.
Yeah.
Pinky out. I don't do it, but lead with your wrist.
Should
and,
you
like,
do
lead
pinky
with
out?
your
Okay.
So Nutella, raspberries. Put them in the freezer for like don't freeze them, but like get them like a little frozen, just so they're just a little frozen. You take them out, spoonful. You don't like raspberries? Or is this killing you?
No, this is
'Cause you're
killing
loving
me
it.
because
Okay.
I want it.
Spoon out some Nutella, and we were watching the Olympics. We were doing this. I was on cloud nine, and then you place the raspberries like little jewels
I'm
on the
gasping.
Nutella spoon, and then just boom.
Oh,
Great.
damn.
Amazing. Because they're not too frozen, because we've since done them. I've left the raspberries in there too long, and then it's the next night. And I'm like, this will work, right? It's not as good because they're a little too frozen. But
They
just
need to melt with your body temperature
Exactly,
in your mouth.
exactly.
Oh my god.
can't be
have
beat.
to-
Watching Michael Phelps, loving it.
Like that. There's nothing better than like the melting of your mouth hole. Am I right, Alie?
I'm just gonna say
You
yes.
should make a Valentine like that
And then-
Alie can buy on Etsy.
Have you seen Kurt Braunhaller's cards that he's
I
doing?
haven't.
now?
That sounds awesome. I love Kurt.
He's going into stores and he finds like stupid cards.
Yeah.
And he opens them and crosses out the inside and writes a new message inside. And
Tremendous.
then puts them back in. And they're like the funniest
That's
fucking
awesome.
things you've ever read in your
Kurt
life.
Braunhaler, you guys.
He's
Look
the
him
best.
up.
Check
He's
him out.
got a fucked
Bunk.
up weird.
Check it out.
Yeah, Bunk on IFC. He's got a weird last name.
Yeah.
That's one of my
Find him.
favorite. He has this Tumblr devoted to these.
That's awesome.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If you had to fuck that, would you fuck that?
I would have fucked Kurt Braunhaller's
Greeting cards.
greeting
cards?
cards because I fucking hate greeting cards so. My mom
So
just sent
much.
me a Passover greeting card to be like Happy New Year and
I thought you meant like I thought you were going to say passive aggressive. I felt like that syllable could have gone a lot of places.
I mean, it was because all she did was like love mom, and like that doesn't mean anything to me, mom. Like, tell me about like I remember once when you were 5 and you like did a choreographed dance. Like, tell me a fucking story.
I get
Don't
it.
write, love mom. So yeah, fuck yes, Kurt Braunhaller's cards.
So would you say fuck that because you want to fuck those cards and then
Yeah.
fuck
I know where you're
that
going.
when you're talking about your cards that
So
have
fuck
shitty
that.
messages?
I'd rather, fuck that shitty message cards. I'd rather you just write a nice card.
All right, Janet, you're on notice.
Janet March.
Yep.
Let's see.
So, all right, DC,
Yes.
fuck that.
That was slightly
Yeah.
British of you. DC.
DC.
We
Today in the
a
West Bank.
Fuck, we have a fuck that.
Okay.
And it means fuck something you want to
Right.
love
Something you want to fuck that. Okay, cool. So here's my fuck that and my fuck that. I thought of them while we were talking. I want to fuck that is I had underappreciated it in its first form. Mostly because I was too busy masturbating to it because I was in 7th grade.
Why?
That thing is the song "Criminal" by Fiona Apple.
Fuck you.
Going to see Fiona Apple tomorrow night with my
Allie's
girlfriend.
going
Very exciting.
too.
We'll see you there.
Are you going into the bowl? I'm going on Friday to the Greek.
Oh, we're going to the Greek.
I'm going there too, motherfucker. I will see you
Sweet.
there, and I'll be crying.
When I said tomorrow night, I meant 2 nights from now.
That's what you mean.
So I'm
a
not.
gorgeous
I've
song.
never really been a Fiona Apple fan. I just never gotten into her. And my girlfriend's a huge fan. She's like, we're going to see Fiona Apple. I was like, cool. So she made me a Fiona Apple mix.
Nice.
We also listen on the way back from the High School Hall of Fame. We also listened to the new Fiona Apple album, which is great.
It's great.
Who's your
Shamefully delayed for 2 years. Her name's Alie Hepworth. Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
And she's in an improv group called Gaffney that people should go see. I don't know why I'm saying it in such a weird, I'm doing a lot of weird inflections that I would never normally do. I think it has something to do with this pen that I'm holding.
How'd you guys meet?
We met, I used to, forever ago, we went to the same college. We went to NYU. She was, few years behind me. So I used to after I graduated, I coached her improv group. But we weren't really, we didn't really know each other. I mean, we knew each other to say hi to. And then we sort of met, by which I mean kissed, at a comedy festival in upstate New York. And then we sort of we weren't really long distance, but we'd sort of see each other whenever when we were in each other. Yeah, exactly. In each other's cities. And then she moved out here a year ago and we started dating and we will celebrate our first anniversary on the 25th of this month. Yay! So this is the longest relationship that I've been in a really long time, and it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Nutella of emotional ways to relate to one another.
Fuck that. What do you hate so much about it?
I hate, but really quickly, Fiona Apple, Criminal, underrated pop single. I was listening to it in the car tonight on the mix. I was like, this is just one of the best songs that's ever been popular.
It's gorgeous.
It's just a really amazing song, and it's got a really awesome straddling. It's a perfect, but smart straddling the line of being I feel really bad about this thing I've done, but also but I'm kind of sexy too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
I was
you knew that about me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, which a lot of people attempt to do. It is a theme or an accord that has been attempted to be hit in pop music a lot before and since, but I don't think it's ever been done quite so well. My fuck that is the word amazing.
Oh, thank you.
The word amazing is sort of a thing that I'm on a tear about right now. I think that the word, when it's it's because it sort of really was crystallized for me when my girlfriend and I were at brunch, and we always overhear, as most people do, I think you overhear the worst, awfulest conversations at brunch. But then again, you're at brunch, so you're sort of asking for
you're an asshole.
Exactly. It's sort of it's par for the course. But I overheard these two people, and the one woman was like, "Oh my God, how was Barcelona?" And then before she could even respond in my head, I know that I'm going to hear, "It was amazing." In that exact tone of voice. And that's exactly what it was. "Oh my God, how was Barcelona?" "It was amazing." And it's just such an overused, terrible word that has been rendered completely meaningless.
Fair.
I'm into stupendous now. I fuck with tremendous, magnificent. I love marvelous is my new favorite.
Wonderful.
There are other words out there. Wonderful is great. Wonderful is great.
Spectacular?
What spectacular is great. There's so many other words we can use, but amazing, for whatever reason, we have just made our fuck doll.
I have a theory about that.
Please.
Amazing is our generation's groovy. And it will
you're totally right. You think it's going to be our sort of along with big bell bottoms and big froze. It's going to be our cultural marker.
There's going to be a jean patch that says amazing, like a fucking rock and roll.
It is
in
terms of it's our linguistic shame.
Right.
That's
but
what it
Alie
is.
also hates yummy.
Yummy can fuck
Yummy's
itself.
terrible. Yeah,
Yummy
exactly.
Can fuck itself. Here's my fuck that. You know what?
Please.
No offense. Fuck beer. Beer can. I fuck it.
Alie,
fuck
I'm
that.
trying so
I'm not
hard.
into
Why?
beer.
Why?
It's bitter. I don't like it.
You like bitter stuff.
It makes you. I know, but I don't like. It doesn't have a. I don't know. It doesn't have a complexity. I try to like beer, and I fucking fuck that. Beer can fuck itself up.
I will say, as somebody that likes beer and beer culture to a certain degree, it does have one of those annoying cultures that if you don't like the thing that the culture is about, you will hate it even more.
Yep.
Because beer culture can be so. Coffee's the same way. Wine is the same way. Fucking cigars could be the same way.
It's don't tell me to like beer. Nobody tell. I've tried to like beer, and we just don't get along.
I also don't understand who's all these people that are out here trying to get everyone to like everything that they like.
Know.
Don't you like it when people don't like the things that you like? Because then you're the only one that likes them. It's neat.
I want just a small percentage of people to like the exact same thing I like, but not too many of you.
When people
and I don't know
like
either.
the thing you like, that makes it seem like you're not legitimate, though.
See, but that's nonsense.
I agree, but that's
It's
the point about
proselytizing.
it is you don't like this. Oh, that makes me not cool.
Now, I have been told by people smarter than I that that is called network effects, and they are the result of social networking in large part because it's what makes 50 Shades of Grey popular. You see it enough on your Facebook and your Twitter, and people be like, just reading 50 Shades of Grey and no big deal, or whatever, you know what I mean? Or, I'm so guilty, but I'm reading 50 Shades of Grey, whatever. And because enough people do it, you go, excuse me, I just burped. One of those, you go what is that? I gotta check it out. And you do. And then it makes it so that the things that are popular are really, really, really popular.
Yeah.
And the things that
It's
aren't
accelerated
popular,
pop culture.
they don't become, exactly. And it makes it more, as he put it, as the guy, smarter guy than me that was telling me about it was telling me, he was like, it's what makes it monolithic. It's what makes pop culture even more like boring and homogenous than it's ever been, even though ostensibly because we all have access to all of the culture in the world
Is that why,
all the time
though?
at our
'Cause we
fingertips.
have access to all of it?
I think that's part of it, but I think it's also because of the way that opinion now is shared and has to be weirdly more like fake democratic. Like the way I refer to it is like basically, I don't know, and this isn't really true. There are some things that I have found because of the internet that tons of things that I never would have found if it weren't for the internet. But it's a forest disguised as trees. It's like all these people that are claiming to be individuals that are all retumbling the same five
Well,
things.
I guess that's the point, is that the stuff that you find that no one else has found, like when we were younger, those things were not able to be found unless you tried really fucking hard.
Totally.
So like there was 13 channels, and those were the things that
Right.
you were interested in. Cosby Show or The Simpsons or Married with Children or like those
Ramona.
fucking things, Ramona, or Daria, and like those were the only fucking things that you were interested in, because there was nothing fucking else unless you tried really hard or you lived in a cool city that like had access to those things.
Libraries,
Is there?
yeah.
Libraries, like there was just like, it was really difficult to find the things, but there was something in you that didn't want the normal things that everyone else
Right.
had.
And unrelated, but do you think that there is a female cover band that covers only Ramones songs and dresses like Ramona Quimby
God, I wish.
called the Ramonas?
I'm having an orgasm.
Right? And if so,
One of my best
will
friends.
you guys be the ones to start it?
Yes. One of my best friends
Jesus.
is a roller derby girl named Judy Gloom.
That's awesome.
And she's a librarian.
That's great. Oh, that's amazing. In real life?
Yes.
Adorable.
And
That's
I love her.
fantastic. She's
Megan,
great.
Megan, great job.
Big ups, Megan.
I'm trying to think so hard of a pun around age 8. Like 8, like ATE. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I'm going to work
Ramona
on it.
Quimby, age 8. I'm trying to think of just like Ramones. I don't know enough Judy Blume, I
know.
don't think.
Yeah.
Work on it.
Are you there, God? It's me, Gaba.
Oh, jeepers.
Are you there, Gaba? Hey.
Gaba,
I don't know.
it's me.
I'll work on it. I'll get back to you
You
guys.
get back to us.
We'll see it on Twitter.
Oh, can I say the thing I want to fuck, by the way?
Yeah.
Please.
Number one, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more about Fiona Apple. She is an unsung hero, and her lyrics are genius, and she's a wordsmith.
Can I tell you guys
love
my
her.
theory? I've been meaning to
Yeah.
author a blog post about this, but I haven't yet because I'm too lazy. I believe that Fiona Apple is the white Lauryn Hill. Hear me out.
Okay.
Now, rappers and R&B singers and people fetishize, I believe rightly somewhat, although I don't have as much of a familiarity with her catalog as I should, Lauryn Hill, because the perception is that if Lauryn Hill had not, I guess we can all agree, gone crazy and went away, that she would have been this beacon for sort of positivity and for forward thinkingness and for being a smart, self-possessed woman who can also be in hip hop and sing and be awesome and just be all those things, and that the horse as well. The course of hip hop history would have changed had she been around. I believe that because I think Fiona Apple has been somewhat, she's released like 4 records in her entire career, right? If she had been more present, especially in the like 2000s, a lot of these motherfucking fakers and lames that you see on Pitchfork would not be able to fucking push their little, look, I have bangs, therefore I'm like smart somehow.
But you
bullshit
can't-
when they're really just writing songs about I'm on weed and I'm in bed.
But the fact is, they did those things because Lauryn Hill was fucking bananas and couldn't deal with her shit, and because fucking Fiona Apple was anorexic and bulimic and couldn't fucking handle
also
it.
was a rape victim,
Those
like-
aren't. I know, but those are not things you can be like, well, if this hadn't happened, these would have happened. Like, she should have dealt with those things.
No, of course she
and-
should. I'm not saying that she shouldn't have had the career that she's had.
I don't either.
I'm just saying that a lot of these suckers and fakers and lames should be happy that Fiona Apple hasn't really been around that much in the past, 15
Yeah,
years.
but wouldn't it have been
Because if they
nice?
had, because she would have shown them for the sort of facile creatures that they are.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it
she's
have been
the real
nice to
deal.
those people
She's the real
who
deal.
have been raped and have had anorexia to like show them that like you can still do this?
She is, though.
thing.
Why? But why does she have to be a role model for, like, why is the onus on her to be not only like a really good songwriter and performer, but also you have to be a role model to everyone? Can't you just be like, fuck you, I can't deal with it? Have
not.
a million people stare at you all at the once.
I agree.
And like pick apart your body and
I
like
agree.
fuck you and deal with it.
I
kind
totally
of am
agree.
like, if she wants to get reclusive on us, I'm
Yeah.
like, she's like a forest creature. I'm like, you do what you need to
Yeah.
do. I'm just going to appreciate the gifts that you give us.
Did you hear that when she was on WTF with Mark Maron? And it's really good. You should check it out. Did you hear when she was like, he said something about at the very beginning about her being a girl, and she was like, thank you. And he was like, why? And she's like, because for some reason I'm always in relationships, and these guys are like, they've said independently of anyone else, they've said to me like, you're not like a girl, you're like a weird creature.
You're a creature. People call her like independent, like
without conferring with each other, one presumes.
And she kind of is, but I like her new album. It's experimental. I know all her catalog too well. Yeah. I've always revered her. But so I am going to see her when she's in concert here. Although I bought a ticket for a guy who I'm no longer dating, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So
contest.
Yikes.
Hey, so call 1-800-Alie Ward.
Oh shit. But my love so much that I would fuck it is I recently have been hiking without headphones because I always just put on music and then I hike and boop, 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 boop. And every song that comes on, it's like, oh, this Beyonce track reminds me of this thing that happened or this person or whatever. Like my running playlist. But I've been hiking quiet and it's the jam. I love it. You hear all these birds, people say hi to you on the trail, and you have nothing but your own dumb thoughts for an hour, and it's the best.
Now, this is an interesting to talk about on a podcast. Because someone is no doubt listening. That's like being on like Walter Cronkite signing off, being like, never turn on your TV again.
I know.
But I agree with you. And because I got into a place, especially when I just moved to LA and I was like lonely as fuck and super depressed. I got into like WTF and like The Best Show and these other podcasts that I now love deeply and are like huge parts of my life and have been ever since I discovered them. But I found myself, especially when I was like real alone and real depressed, like, just not even being able to get, this is sad, this is real fucking sad.
Okay.
Not even being able to get out of like bed, really. Or not being motivated to get out of bed. If I was like, but first let me put in the old podcast, then I can move across the room.
It's like your friends.
Then I had a tweet, I hate to repeat a tweet of mine fucking on a podcast. Wow, how 2012 is that? I'm gonna go jump off a future bridge. But I had a tweet that was like, it was something along the lines of like, podcasts exist so that, or like, podcasts are premised upon the idea that it won't be depressing to be alone and pour a can of soup into a fucking pan if you're listening to two guys talk about comedy.
Yeah. My house would not be clean unless there were podcasts.
And podcasts are great. I love podcasts, are amazing, but I totally concur with you. Like, I definitely had that in New York when I used to walk a lot, and I realized like, oh, if I just walk and I don't listen to music, because it's hard to be in your car and not listen to anything.
Yeah.
Although I sometimes it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes if you're just like driving and you're not listening to anything, it's like it's kind of the jam.
Weird.
I listen to quiet a lot, and if like stuff you missed in history didn't exist, I would not. My house would be a fucking mess.
No, podcasts are amazing. Yeah. Music's, but it's like sometimes it's just nice to like take off your headphones and just
listen to your own.
And it sounds lame, but you really do think of things that you would not have thought of otherwise. Because I can't listen to music when I write, because I think of it as, especially music with words, because I think it's going in the same hole mentally that the words are supposed to be coming out of. And so you think things that you would never think if you're just not listening to.
You gotta chill down.
Sometimes you do have to chill down.
Sometimes you gotta chill down. Well, that's another thing I guess I learned this week. Really quick, what do you want to, as long as we're slumber partying, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you think? Because we're all tiny babies.
Yeah, I know.
We're all big, hairy babies.
I mean, I don't know. It's so interesting because, like, you're really encouraged, I guess, if you're in the entertainment industry, and I'm sure you guys have encountered this as well, to, like, really go, like, I want to be that person.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do. Like, when you describe yourself like agents or managers or whatever who are going to go out and kind of try to make your career happen, you're supposed to, it goes the easiest, I think, if you're able to say, like, I want to be X. I'm the new him.
So David Wayne is your...
So David Wayne, yeah, exactly. He was great. I like David Wayne. But, like, there are very few people whose careers that I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do. I look at somebody like Neil Gaiman, and I think he has a really cool life. And I have tremendous amount of respect for him, and I definitely like, cause he just gets to sort of be, he is an author and his books sell a lot, but his public persona is like, to the point of pretension sometimes, but I dig it, is like, public storyteller. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty neat.
He's an orator.
Exactly. And like, or something like, I hate to be like, oh, I want to be Mark Twain, but like, that guy would just go and just talk. He would do readings and they would sell out because it was super popular. Or I look at somebody like John Hodgman, and I think he's a more modern edition of like somebody who has a really cool career writing, being just him. And he gets to do that for a living. So I don't know, like, if I could do nothing else, I would just go away and just write. And that's my biggest fantasy, is just like not doing any of the stuff, not going on, Nokia commercial auditions, but just sitting in a room in a woods.
In 1992?
In 1992. Exactly. And being in Mudhoney.
Let's freeze his underwear.
Okay.
We're going to draw dicks on your face.
Go to sleep.
We're
going to do that.
Night. Okay.
Thank you so much. Where can we stalk you?
This has been amazing.
While you sleep.
Yeah, amazing.
You can stalk me at DC Pearson. I should say DCPearson.com, but really DCPearson.tumblr.com because DCPearson.com I have to transfer over to them. DCPearson.tumblr.com will get you where you need to go.
Got it.
Twitter.com/DCPearson. And when is this coming out?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
We'll look up Derek.
Oh yeah, and also come see Magic Bag at the Little Modern Theater every Sunday night at 8 p.m. We always have great, amazing stand-up comedians, and myself and Eliza Skinner host it. We also do stand-up ourselves, the show, and it's free, so you can just come and get in.
And then when is Shitty Jobs?
Shitty Jobs is the same night, but it's every Sunday at 11.
So you do 2 shows a night?
I do.
Jesus.
It's great. Oh, it's awesome. I love it.
You're a maniac.
Yeah, Magic Bag used to be on Saturday nights, but I wanted to move it to Sunday night because I liked having like a night where I could
Your
do
Mondays
things.
must be rough.
Mondays. They are pretty rough, actually, but it's all right.
I get it.
Mondays are
I
always rough. I cite the case of Garfield versus America. You were saying?
A whole bunch of lasagna. I feel like Sundays are all about low carb Monster energy drinks, and Mondays are all about lasagna and naps.
Yeah.
Is that true?
No, I wish Mondays were about lasagna and naps. It's all about getting out there and getting it.
Getting that work done.
Getting it in.
Well, we're going to watch your career like stalkers.
Please do.
Yeah.
As always, pick up his book, stalk the shit out of him. Seriously, read his book. It's fucking great. I loved it. And not only because I just knew you on a vaguely social basis, but this has been Alie and Georgia with Slumber Party. We want to thank our guest, DC Pearson, for being in the Pillow Fort.
Thank you, DC Pearson.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was very fun.
You know what's funny is he doesn't know that I took his bra and I hid it.
In the freezer? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
He has no idea.
I see a dick drawing in Sharpie on his face, and he doesn't know it yet. Hey.
His parents are going to pick him up in a minute.
Thanks, DC.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Nighty night.
FairAudio.com is an artist-friendly podcast collective hosted by Castmates.fm. Host their own podcast at Castmates.fm. Today, all of our artists reserve the rights to their materials. Your donations directly support your favorite artists, help pay for their show's production, and keep your favorite shows free. Visit FairAudio.com for other original shows and learn about our community of artists that help make this collective possible. Thank you for listening to this podcast. This outro features the music of The Fancy. We are thefancy.net.